What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be talking about how a Christian girl ministered to me as a Muslim. Now, before I start, I want to share a little bit about my background and kind of what led up to this conversation, this start of hearing about Jesus. So I was born to a Turkish family. My mother and father were both born in Turkey, in Istanbul, and they met in New York. Now, they met in New York, but they had me in Florida. So I was raised Muslim. I was taught Arabic prayers, memorized a lot of things, but we also weren't super devout Muslims where, we're going to the mosque every day or every whatever. No, like my parents never really went to the mosque. More so, and I think this is a case with a lot of people, I was just Muslim because I was born to it. And that's what I believed, and my parents raised me up that way. Now, fast forwarding a lot because I don't want to make this video a testimony video. I was at a point in my life in high school. It was my sophomore year, and I got hit with a lot of depression. I remember specifically this one day I was walking in the parking lot, and it was sunny and all these kids walking around, and I got hit with a thought. And it was like, what if I just die right now? What's the point? Like, why do I need to be here? Nobody's gonna care. And it was an interesting thought because I had always struggled with depression and insecurity and self-esteem issues stemming from my childhood. But that was a key moment where I was like, dude, I kind of want to die. Now, probably after that happened, I would say a couple weeks later, maybe a month later, I met this girl. Now, how it had happened was, I have a buddy, and this friend of mine would never want to take me home, because he'd be like, oh no, dude, my parents are gonna, I'm gonna get in trouble if something happens, and my parents just don't want me driving people home. And I was like, bro, stop being lame and just drive me home. I'm not taking my bus. I hated my bus so much. And I was kind of at that point too where a lot of people annoyed me a lot. So I didn't want to be around too many people that got on my nerves, so to say. So I go to the student parking lot with him. I hop in his car. I'm like, bro, take me home. He's not taking me home. So we drive to the front of the school. And I'm fine with it, dude. I was raised an only child. My friends were close. I'll just talk in the parking lot with him. So we're just sitting in his car talking. And I peek out and I see by the building another friend of mine. And he's with a girl. And this friend of mine actually lives in my neighborhood. So I'm like, dude, I can go finesse a ride. I'll say what's up to this girl too. Peace out, bro. I'm not sitting in this car. So I jump out the car. I start walking up to my friend. I'm like, what's up, brother? Can you take me home? He's like, sure, no problem. And I see this girl that he's talking to. And I reach out my hand to introduce myself because, I don't know, that's just how I was brought up. Just nice and proper introduction. So I was like, hey, my name's Denis, nice to meet you. And she paused and kind of looked at my hand and didn't shake it. And I was like, back then I was a completely different person. So in my head, I'm just like, yo, what the blank is going on? Like, you gonna shake my hand or what? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of awkward. And she hesitated a little bit and she shook my hand, introduced herself. Cool. Turns out she had missed her bus that day as well. So my friend was offering her a ride home, and she was like, oh no, my stepdad's coming to pick me up. So all good. Had never seen the girl before at high school, never. And after that day, I began seeing her a lot. And we started getting along a And in fact, I was one of those guys. I was not motivated by money, sex, drugs, none of that, dude. Honestly, I just wanted love. That's it. I literally just wanted love. And this girl, it was so different than any other girls because there's like a purity there. A purity there and a cleanness. And I remember with other girls, it just didn't sit right, bro. It didn't sit right. And I enjoyed every moment with this girl. I loved hanging out with her. And the depression that I had, it kind of like faded away. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, when I'm at this point in high school, my relationship with Allah, my belief in Islam, I mean, dude, like, I'm just Muslim because I'm Muslim. I don't even really pray like that no more. Like, maybe I count my blessings here and there. But no relationship with God, like, whatsoever. Kind of just walking this world alone. Very alone. And my father wasn't around too much. And my mother was a very broken individual. Been through some tough things, and you know that was just getting passed on to me, and she was breaking me kind of without even trying. But just not a good situation. So this girl and I, we start talking, and bro, I'm getting late to like every class possible. Like all the teachers know that I'm chasing after this girl. They're like, hey, another late, like tardy, we're sending you to the office, have fun explaining yourself to them. And I'm like, bro, like I'd rather walk her to her classroom than be here. But we would talk, we'd get along, and you know, I'm trying to play it cool. Every Friday we would kind of wait for each other to ask each other to go hang out. And I had learned from past relationships, bro, don't be desperate, dog. Don't be desperate. Wait to respond. Don't respond like in a minute. And I'd wait, and then she would text me, hey, you want to hang out? And I'm like, hey, let's go. You know what I'm saying? So we'd hang out at her house or whatever. I would tell my parents, oh, I'm just at my friend like Anthony's house, something like that. Lying through my teeth because I didn't want my parents in my business. And we didn't talk about God at all for probably like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I don't think so. We didn't talk about God. And what happened was our love grew. We started dating. We became boyfriend, girlfriend. Everyone knew that we were together because we were just attached, man. In fact, I cut everybody off. I cut off all my friends, everything, because any relationship I had in the past, when too many people got involved, when friends got involved, it would crumble, it would go away. So I was doing everything in my power to protect this relationship. And it got really bad. Just like the way we were, just like, that's a whole different story. We were super protective and jealous over one another. But what happened was 2-3 years later, man, I got hit with, like, the depression came back. In fact, it's not that I got hit with it again. It was always there, but it was like a tree. Like when I met this girl, this tree kind of got cut down, but the roots were still there. So 2-3 years later, this tree's back, and it's horrible. And I have what I thought I always wanted. I got my job, I got a car, I got money, I got this girl, like literally amazing girl, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't party, not going to clubs, bro, like everything I wanted. But I started really spiraling down into a deep depression. In fact, like, it was so morbid and difficult. My heart beating bothered me. I was so alone. No matter how close, like, my girl and I were, I was so alone. I felt horrible 24/7. I didn't wake up. Like, I didn't want to wake up. I would sleep for hours and hours and hours. In fact, it got to a point where, and this is where it kind of starts tying in together, she noticed it. Perhaps I expressed it to her as well. And she tried talking to me about Jesus now. Now, I knew she was Christian. She knew I was Muslim when we first started dating. But we never talked about God or like what we really believe like that. It was just like, yeah, like, you know, it's just something, everyone believes in something different. It's no problem, really. And she would try to tell me about Jesus. And for some reason, dude, like, I didn't even really know Jesus like that. Honestly, I would just like use his name as a cuss word. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone in school, like, I'm like, oh yeah, Jesus, like, I guess that's like a God or something they believe in. I wasn't taught anything like that. But when she started telling me that, hey, only Jesus can fix you, telling me Jesus is the only way to God, to heaven, dude, I got so pissed off. And I would manifest with some anger and rage. And you know what? We would fight. And I would start defending Islam and being a Muslim, because I'm like, dude, I'm born to this. I'm not gonna look weak. We all know what happens when you're a Muslim back in elementary school. Oh, you're a terrorist. Like, I heard all that, dude. I didn't even want to tell people I was Muslim because it was like embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to go through that, especially like the area I grew up in. Not a lot of other Muslims. So when she did that, maybe it triggered something from my past, maybe this or that, maybe it addressed like something that's in me that wasn't supposed to be there. And I would manifest with rage and anger. So angry, cussing at her, shut the F up, F your God, F. It's literally saying F Jesus, dude. Literally. F that, F the church. It's completely wrong. That's not who God is. Allah's God. Has no son, power. Kind of who are you to even think you're right? Like, who are you to think, right? And I was super prideful too, because I was a really broken guy. It was kind of like a pit bull that got beat, and now he was just angry, ready to lash out at anything, you know? So we would have these horrible fights, and the only time these fights would really stop was when she started crying. She would start crying, and then I would kind of snap out of it. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, I love you, like, why? What am I doing, kind of thing. And I didn't want her to cry. And we'd snap out of it, we'd apologize, kind of thing. But you could tell there was starting to be a divide in our relationship. And this woman, or this girl at the time, she was so firm in her belief. Like, she would not back down from it. Like, I was the type of guy, I would make you question if you were actually Christian, bro. The way I would debate you with just a ferocity, a zeal to prove you wrong. And she would match that. And I would challenge her, and she'd have an answer for it, kind of thing. And even if she didn't have an answer for it, I could tell that what she believed in was so real to her. And that was what there was a disconnect with as well. I would tell her, I don't give a blank what you say. That's what you believe. I won't believe what you believe. I can't believe it because you believe it. And she would invite me to church. She would invite me to church and be like, no way. You know how many dudes, like, a girl would invite them to church? All right, yeah, I'll go with this shorty, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no biggie. But me, it was like, heck no. Like, Jesus is no. Christianity, stay away from me. Not interested at all. Don't even care if I hurt her by not going. And as time went on, this religious battle, this spiritual battle increased. And mind you, it's not like I have something that I want. I have no peace. I have no happiness. I have no joy at this time. And the answer that she's providing me, I'm completely rejecting. I'm saying, no way. I am not believing. In fact, it was a weird form of bondage, right? You're caught up in defending something that you don't even believe. Because if I were to actually think about it, do I even believe in Allah? Do I even believe in like Islam? Am I even a Muslim? Not really, bro. And this is one key point. When you claim to be something, you represent it. So when people see you, they associate it with what you represent. My parents were the people I saw that represented Islam, and I didn't want their life. Everything bad, I believe, came from God. He punished me. I couldn't live up to his expectations or Allah's expectations. Kind of like out to get me, like, you're never enough. And their life was not blessed by any means. Obviously, there's people in worse situations, but dude, I mean, I would get anxiety when the credit card companies would start calling, cars getting repossessed, money fights every single day, parents threatening to leave, crying at the door, holding my knees, like, please don't leave, mom, dad, stay here, whatever, right? All that stuff. Fights like crazy. Anyway, when I would see this girl talk about Jesus, I could see the realness there. And it kind of made me even more like hateful. Like, I was like, okay, like that's real to you? Like, it seems real? Like, forget it. I reject it even more. I don't want it. And I believe where I was at the time was, God, whoever you are, you rejected me for so long. You weren't there for me for so long. And now you're here trying to win an argument over me? Forget you. I don't want you in my life. That's kind of where I was at. Not that I even believed that Christianity was the way. Just whoever she was claiming as God, like, cool. I don't want God at all. But then I went down a path of really seeking knowledge and wisdom. Dude, I started reading books like crazy books. And that'll tie more into my testimony. But one thing that was very powerful, and what this girl did, I believe, is what a lot of Christians need to do. Because if you have a seat at the table of Jesus, you need to invite people there. If I had to do what she did and minister to me, I'm talking a fist fight, bro. Like, I was crazy. No possible way that I'm dealing with this fool, right? Like, that's how I was. But she wouldn't stop. She kept hammering. And it kind of got to a point where, honestly, our relationship was crap. Like, to be fair with you, to be completely candid, we weren't going to be together. We were speaking completely different languages. I was eclectic, like, every path leads to God, like, we're gods, like, we got to figure this out. I was going down rabbit holes. Meanwhile, she's talking about Jesus. I'm like, what you don't understand is life isn't that simple. This is way more complex. Believe in Jesus all you want. It's foolishness. That's what I believed. I was like, I need this complex piece to get that complex piece to put these pieces together, blah, blah. Nuts. And our arguments would get so bad where even my parents started getting involved. And this girl would be going toe to toe with my parents. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, and I remember this girl would blast her church services in my family house, and it would infuriate me. She's blasting like the church's worship music before service. I'm just like, shut up in my head, like so angry, man, so angry. And I'm like, my Muslim parents are right next door. Turn this off. And she would blast it even louder. And it infuriated me at the time. So it was one of those things where she planted so many seeds in my heart. She watered all those seeds, but it got to a point where it wasn't fruitful, her and I's conversations about God anymore. Because it wasn't even like a conversation anymore. It had graduated into a debate, and then from a debate it went straight into an argument, and an argument it just went straight into slander, attacking. Like, it was just beginning to look like this girl that I wanted my whole life, a woman that I thought I wanted when I was a little kid, to be honest with you, who just doesn't engage in what other girls engage in and all this stuff. I was saying, forget this girl. I'm not believing in this crap. I'd rather be alone. And then we stopped talking about God. She never brought up Jesus again. And unbeknownst to me, apparently my mother and her were having a conversation one day. And my mother looked at her and was like, my son will never believe what you believe. Never. You can't change him. Little did I know, this girl started praying for me. Hardcore. Praying and praying and praying. Writing and writing and writing. Exercising a lot of faith. Lord, thank you for saving him. Thank you for waking him up. Thank you for having a plan for his life. Praying for my soul, man. Praying that I would find what she has. And here and there, very seldom, she would drop like a little seed like, hey, God has a big plan for you. And I look at her, I'm like, shawty, you tripping. But it would kind of like make me feel good, and then we just leave it at that. So it kind of like softened my heart a little bit. And, you know, I was reading a lot. In fact, she ordered me a Bible. I was reading every book, dude. Every book. New Age books, Buddha, Krishna, meditation, law of attraction, manifesting, like all this stuff. I was about to start astral projecting if I could, right? And she had bought me this Bible. In fact, she even got my name like engraved on it. Big Bible. And I was like, alright, thank you. Like, under my desk, I'm never opening that. You tripping? Like, there's nothing in there for me. But once she started praying for me, it was no longer her battle. She did everything that was asked of her. And I think a lot of Christians have to realize, you plant, you sow, only God can bring the increase. There will come a certain point where the most you can do is in prayer, to be honest with you. Prayer is huge. So once this girl started praying for me, a lot of things changed. Mind you, and as I go back to what you represent, dude, it got to a point where I was starting to see that Jesus could be real. It was becoming a thought like, yo, maybe Jesus is really God. God in the flesh, you know what I'm saying? By looking at her life, so much fruit, dude. Peace was on her. Favor was on her. She'd be at Walmart getting blessed with money out of nowhere. I'm like, what the flip? Like, cussing, dude. I'm like, what the? I hate you even more. Like, and I remember I'd get to a point where I was driving down a road, a demonic road, to be honest with you, a dark road, bro, where there was like murder and stuff, and I had her with me. And I was kind of like taking her to this dark place, and we saw a shooting star, and we Google something, and it's like, oh, God's looking out kind of thing. And I was like, that pissed me off too. I was like, I get it. You're there for her. You just never wanted me. God, whoever you are. You just never wanted me, but you have her, so good for you. And it hurt me, it bothered me, it upset me, it made me angry. But I couldn't deny that she had a relationship with something. Because I see a lot of Christians who really misrepresent Jesus. And when I was Muslim, I'd be like, bro, I don't want to look like that. Wearing crosses on their neck, talking about effing this girl and doing this. And I'm being completely blatantly honest with you, man. That's the reality, that's the truth. Cussing, talking about fornication, sexuality with this girl and that girl, and sleeping around here and crossing my neck, church on Sunday, you know what's up. Like, I'm like, what is that, bro? I don't fit in with you. Because I've never been drunk in my whole life. I've never been high in my whole life. Never got invited to no parties, nothing. But when she would talk about Jesus, when she represented Jesus, it was different. I could see her intimacy with a God that I didn't know. And that's when a lot of things started unfolding. Guys, that was part 1 of this video. It's a pretty lengthy story. Drop a comment if you have any questions about anything. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll probably make a part 2 and kind of tie it more into my testimony and how we really started getting closer and closer to the Lord. But just know, man, when you're a Christian, you represent the King. You represent the King. Everything you do, people got eyes on you. I was studying this girl, studying her. Okay, you say this, you do this, what do you do? What's the fruit? Right? Is God really working in your life? Is God really powerful? Because there's some Christians that it's like, why would I believe something when you struggle that much with it? Why? I already had that. I was serving a God where it was just struggle. Just people looked like they were struggling. So that's huge. And then prayer and standing firm on what you believe. You can't stand firm on what you believe if you have no intimacy with it. If you don't believe it's real. Because I guarantee you, if you really don't know Jesus like this, bro, if you guys really ain't like this, you'll be found out. Because there's people like me who I was in the past that will expose you, that will challenge you. And you have to be very prayed up, very intimate, and you have to know Jesus and he has to know you. And once you're there, then he sends you out, right? But I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you for watching. I hope this video encourages you, and I'll be sure to probably share my testimony bit by bit on this channel. And yeah, I'll update you guys on what happened with that Christian girl too. See you soon.